I laughed at something Sungo said, nearly choking on my iced Americano. It felt good to catch up with my childhood friend after so long. We'd been inseparable growing up, but life had pulled us in different directions. Him to Busan for work, me stuck in Seoul juggling university, and, well, my complicated arrangement with Kang Miho. You look good, Joan, Sungo grinned, reaching across the table to ruffle my hair like he used to. Seoul life treating you well? I smiled, but it felt tight. If only he knew the half of it. Yeah, it's fine. Still struggling with tuition? I can. No, I said too quickly. I mean, I've got it handled now. Don't worry about me. The cafe door chimed. I didn't look up, too focused on steering the conversation away from my finances. But then the air shifted, became heavier, charged with something dangerous. The chatter around us seemed to quiet. Jaiwon. That voice. Deep, commanding, edged with something dark. My blood ran cold. I looked up to find Miho standing beside our table, immaculate in his black suit, his expression unreadable but his eyes. God, his eyes were burning with barely restrained fury. How did he even know I was here? Young, I stammered, my heart hammering. What are you? We need to talk. Now. His tone left no room for argument. Sungo frowned, looking between us. Excuse me, but we're in the middle of... Miho's gaze finally shifted to Sungo, cold and dismissive. He didn't even acknowledge him. Instead, his hand wrapped around my wrist, firm, possessive, claiming. He pulled me up from my seat effortlessly. Wait, Miho. I tried to resist, aware of Sungo's confused stare and the other customers watching us. Miho leaned down, his lips brushing against my ear, his breath hot against my skin. You're testing my patience, baby. Don't make me remind you who you belong to in front of your little friend. My face burned. The endearment, the threat, the possessiveness, all of it sent conflicting signals through my body. Arousal mixed with anger mixed with embarrassment. Jaiwon, do you know this guy? Sungo stood up, protective instinct kicking in. It's fine, Sungo. I have to go. I'll call you later. I grabbed my bag with my free hand, letting Miho drag me out of the cafe before this became an even bigger scene. The moment we reached his black Mercedes, Miho opened the back door and practically shoved me inside, sliding in after me. The door slammed shut with finality. Driver, privacy screen. Now. Miho's voice was ice. The divider rose silently, sealing us in our own private hell. What the fuck was that? I finally found my voice, anger overriding my nervousness. You can't just... Who was he? Miho cut me off, his body turning toward mine, trapping me against the leather seat. A friend. My childhood friend Sungo. He's visiting from Busan. A friend. Miho's laugh was bitter. You looked very comfortable with him. Laughing. Letting him touch your hair. He's like a brother to me. I don't care if he's your fucking priest. Miho's hand shot out, gripping my chin, forcing me to meet his intense gaze. Did you forget our arrangement? You don't see other men without telling me first. That's not... You're being ridiculous. I can have friends. Friends. His thumb brushed over my bottom lip, and despite my anger, my breath hitched. Is that what you call it? Did you forget who pays for your university? Your apartment? Everything you have? The word stung. Is that what this is about? Money? Fine. I tried to push his hand away. Keep your money. Don't. His voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Don't finish that sentence. His eyes searched mine and I saw it then, not just anger, but something rawer. Jealousy. Possession. Maybe even fear? This body is mine, Jaiwon, he said, his hand sliding from my chin down my neck, leaving a trail of heat. These lips are mine. His thumb pressed against my mouth. Say it. I should have been furious. I should have slapped him and demanded to be let out. But my body betrayed me, responding to his touch like it always did. Miho. Say it. Each word punctuated by his hand moving lower, sliding under my shirt, palm hot against my stomach. I gasped as his fingers found my nipple, circling it through the fabric. Stop. That's not what your body is saying. His lips crashed against mine, rough and demanding, swallowing my protests. I tried to resist, keeping my lips closed, But he bit down on my lower lip just hard enough to make me gasp, and his tongue invaded my mouth, claiming me completely. My hands, which had been pushing against his chest, somehow ended up fisting his expensive shirt, pulling him closer. I hated how easily I melted for him. Hated how right this felt despite everything. Miho's kiss was punishing, possessive, and achingly familiar. His hand roamed under my shirt, mapping territory he knew by heart. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. I don't share, Jaiwan. Ever. His forehead pressed against mine, his hands still possessively gripping my waist. You're mine. Only mine. You don't own me, I whispered, but even I could hear how weak it sounded. His laugh was dark, almost sad. Don't I? The car started moving, heading toward his penthouse. I knew what awaited me there, punishment and pleasure, anger and passion, the toxic mix that defined whatever this thing between us was. I stared out the window, Miho's hands still warm on my skin, and wondered for the 1,000th time how I'd ended up here. How a simple arrangement for tuition money had become this complicated, consuming thing. And why, despite everything, I didn't want to escape it. The penthouse was silent except for our footsteps echoing on the marble floor. Miho walked ahead of me, his shoulders tense, still radiating that cold fury that made my stomach twist with anxiety and something else I didn't want to name. He poured himself a whiskey at the bar, not offering me anything. The ice clinked against the glass, the only sound in the oppressive quiet. I stood there awkwardly, unsure whether to speak or wait for him to explode. Miho, can we just talk about bedroom? Now. He didn't even look at me. My heart jumped into my throat. What? He turned then, and the look in his eyes made my knees weak. Hungry. Dangerous. I said bedroom. Don't make me repeat myself, Jaiwan. I wanted to argue, to stand my ground, but my feet were already moving toward his bedroom like they had a mind of their own. This was the dance we did. Him commanding, me obeying even when I hated myself for it. The bedroom was exactly as I remembered. Massive bed with black silk sheets, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline, and that damn full-length mirror that I both loved and feared. Miho entered behind me, closing the door with a soft click that sounded like a death sentence. He loosened his tie slowly, deliberately, his eyes never leaving mine. Strip. Miho, please, can we just... Now, Jaiwan. His voice dropped an octave. Or I'll do it for you, and I won't be gentle. My hands trembled as I pulled off my sweater, then my shirt. The cool air hit my skin, raising goosebumps. Or maybe that was just his predatory gaze tracking every movement. I hesitated at my jeans. Everything. He circled me slowly, like a wolf stalking prey. I want to see all of what's mine. Shame and arousal warred inside me as I stripped completely, standing naked and vulnerable before him while he remained fully clothed. The power imbalance was intentional, another way he dominated me. Beautiful, he murmured, stopping in front of me. His finger traced my collarbone, down my chest, making me shiver. Did you let him see you like this? Did you think about him while sitting in that cafe, smiling and laughing? No. God, Miho, I told you. His hand wrapped around my throat, not squeezing, just holding, claiming. You thought you could make me jealous? It worked, baby. But now you'll face the consequences. He pushed me backward onto the bed, and I bounced slightly on the silk sheets. My pulse raced as he removed his tie completely, the expensive fabric sliding through his fingers. Hands. Above your head. I obeyed, and he bound my wrists with his tie to the headboard, not tight enough to hurt, but enough that I couldn't escape. I was completely at his mercy. Miho shrugged off his jacket, rolled up his sleeves, and climbed onto the bed, straddling my hips. The weight of him, the heat radiating from his body, made me dizzy with want. I'm going to mark every inch of you, he said, his voice a dark promise. So you remember who owns you. His mouth descended on my neck, sucking and biting hard enough to leave bruises. I gasped, arching into him. He worked his way down methodically, collarbone, chest, stopping to torture my nipples with his teeth and tongue until I was squirming beneath him. Miho, please. Please what? He looked up at me, his lips swollen and wet. Use your words, baby. I couldn't finish, too overwhelmed by sensation. His hands slid lower, wrapping around me, and I nearly came undone right there. But just as quickly, he pulled away, leaving me aching and desperate. Not yet, he said with a wicked smile. Not until you beg properly. You're cruel, I gasped. No, I'm reminding you who you belong to. His mouth continued its torturous journey south, kissing and biting my hip bones, my inner thighs, everywhere except where I needed him most. Time became meaningless. He brought me to the edge over and over, with his hands, his mouth, his wicked tongue, only to pull back at the last second. I was a writhing, begging mess, my wrists straining against the silk tie. Say my name, he commanded, his breath hot against my skin. Tell me who you belong to. You. I cried out, beyond pride or shame. Miho, please, I'm yours. Only yours. That's right, baby. Only me. Finally, he gave me what I needed, his mouth and hands working in perfect synchronization, and I shattered completely, his name torn from my throat like a prayer. The intensity of it left me trembling and gasping. Miho untied my wrists gently, rubbing them to restore circulation, then pulled me against his chest. His own arousal pressed against me, but he seemed content to just hold me. Don't scare me like that again, he whispered into my hair, and for the first time tonight, his voice was vulnerable, almost broken. I blinked up at him, still floating in the aftermath. Scare you? Seeing you with him? Miho's jaw clenched. Laughing like that? Looking happy. It made me realize you could leave. That you might want to leave. My heart clenched. This possessive, dominant man who commanded boardrooms and built empires, he was afraid of losing me? I wasn't going anywhere, I said softly, my hand resting on his chest, feeling his racing heartbeat. I was just having coffee with a friend. I know. He pressed his lips to my forehead. I know, but I can't. I can't be rational when it comes to you, Jaiwan. You drive me insane. We lay there in the dimming light, tangled together, and I wondered if this arrangement had stopped being just an arrangement a long time ago, for both of us. But I was too afraid to ask. Too afraid of the answer. I tugged at the collar of the designer's suit Miho had laid out for me. It fit perfectly, of course it did. Everything Miho provided was perfect, tailored exactly to my measurements. Sometimes I wondered if he enjoyed dressing me up like his personal doll. Stop fidgeting, Miho said, adjusting his cufflinks in the mirror. He looked devastatingly handsome in his black tuxedo, every inch the powerful suit. You look beautiful. My cheeks warmed at the compliment. Even after everything, he still made me feel like a nervous schoolboy. I don't understand why I need to come to this business gala. Won't people talk? Let them. He crossed the room and tilted my chin up, pressing a possessive kiss to my lips. You're mine. I want everyone to know it. The gala was held at one of Seoul's most exclusive hotels. Crystal chandeliers, champagne fountains, men in tuxedos and women in glittering gowns. I felt completely out of place despite my expensive suit. Miho kept me close, his hand constantly at the small of my back, marking his territory. Business associates approached us, their eyes flickering between Miho and me with thinly veiled curiosity, but no one dared ask questions. Kang Miho, a smooth voice called out. Still monopolizing all the beautiful things in Seoul, I see. I turned to see a man approaching, tall, handsome, with an easy smile that somehow felt dangerous. He was younger than Miho, maybe late 20s, with styled hair and an expensive watch that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. Miho's hand tightened possessively on my waist. Lee Dong-hyun. I'm surprised they let you in. No, let's be civil. Dong-hyun's eyes slid to me, and his smile widened. You must be Jaiwan. I've heard interesting things about you. This is a private conversation, Miho said coldly. Is it? Dong-hyun ignored him completely, extending his hand to me. Lee Dong-hyun. I'm in acquisitions, though I suppose Miho would call me his rival. I hesitated, feeling Miho's warning grip, but it would be rude not to shake his hand. Park Jaiwan. Beautiful name for a beautiful boy. Dong-hyun's hand lingered a moment too long. Tell me, Jaiwan, how does someone like you end up with someone like Kang Miho? He's not exactly known for his warm personality. That's enough, Miho growled. I'm just curious. Dong-hyun's eyes gleamed with mischief. A young, intelligent man like you, surely you have dreams beyond being Miho's pretty accessory? What are you studying? I do literature and creative writing, I answered, uncomfortable but not wanting to cause a scene. Fascinating. A romantic soul trapped in a transactional relationship. Dong Hyun pulled out a business card, pressing it into my hand before Miho could stop him. If you ever want to have a real conversation, or if you ever want to be treated like a partner instead of a possession, call me. I promise I'm much better company. Miho looked ready to murder him. Get the fuck away from us. Think about it, Jaewon. Dong Hyun winked before disappearing into the crowd. The ride up to the private lounge was silent and suffocating. Miho's jaw was clenched so tight I thought it might crack. The moment we entered the empty lounge, he slammed the door shut and whirled on me. Did you enjoy his attention? His voice was dangerously quiet. What? No, I... Don't lie to me. He advanced on me, backing me against the door. I saw the way you looked at him. The way you smiled. I was being polite. You're being paranoid. His hand slammed against the door beside my head, caging me in. Paranoid? He gave you his fucking number, Jaewon. And you took it. Because it would have been rude not to. Do you want to leave me for him? His other hand slid up my thigh, fingers digging in possessively. Is that it? Want someone who'll treat you like a partner? He spat the word like poison. My breath hitched as his hand moved higher, dangerously close to where my body was already betraying me. Miho, stop. Answer me. His eyes burned into mine, jealousy and possessiveness and something deeper, something almost like pain. Do you want him? No. The word burst out of me. I don't want him. I don't want anyone else. Prove it. His voice dropped to a growl. Show me you're mine. Something in me snapped. I grabbed his face and kissed him desperately, pouring all my frustration and desire and confusion into it. My hands fumbled with his belt, trembling with need. Only you, I gasped between kisses. I only want you, Miho. Only ever you. The confession ignited something feral in him. He spun me around, my palms flat against the door, his body pressed against my back. Say it again. Yours, I moaned as his hand wrapped around me. I'm yours, Miho. All yours. We barely made it to the leather couch. Clothes were shed frantically, desperately. He took me right there, intense and passionate and claiming, like he needed to erase any trace of Donghyun's attention, any possibility of me belonging to anyone else. Mine, he growled against my neck with each thrust. Say it. Yours. I cried out, my fingers digging into the leather. Always yours. When we finally collapsed together, both breathing hard, Miho held me against his chest like I might disappear. His hand stroked my hair gently, such a contrast to the possessive intensity of moments before. I can't stand the thought of losing you, he whispered, so quietly I almost missed it. My heart clenched. I turned to look at him, seeing vulnerability in his eyes that he rarely showed. You're not losing me. Aren't I? His thumb traced my kiss-swollen lips. He's right, you know. You deserve better than this, better than an arrangement, better than a man who doesn't know how to love properly. Miho. But I'm too selfish to let you go. He pulled me closer, almost crushing me against him. Too selfish to be the better man. I didn't know what to say, because somewhere along the way, this had stopped being just an arrangement for me too. And that terrified me more than anything. I stared at the envelope containing every credit card, every gift, every piece of jewelry Miho had ever given me. My hands trembled as I sealed it. 3 days. I'd been avoiding him for 3 days, ignoring his calls, his texts, the driver he sent to pick me up from university. Because somewhere between the jealousy and the possessiveness and the mind-blowing sex, I'd fallen in love with him. And that wasn't part of our arrangement. The note sat on top of the envelope, my handwriting shaky. Thank you for everything, but I can't do this anymore. My heart can't handle being just an arrangement. Jaewon. I left it all on his penthouse doorstep when I knew he'd be at work. Then I ran back to my tiny apartment in Hongdae, the one I'd kept secretly, the one he didn't know about, paid for with money I'd saved from my part-time job before meeting him. It was pathetic compared to his place. Cramped, old, with a leaky faucet and walls so thin I could hear my neighbors arguing. But it was mine. Not bought with his money or his power. I curled up on my small bed, hugging my knees to my chest, and finally let myself cry. The knock came 2 hours later, aggressive and demanding. My heart stopped. He couldn't have found me. I never told him about this place. Jaiwin. Miho's voice boomed through the door. Open this fucking door right now. I pressed my back against the wall, holding my breath. Maybe if I stayed quiet, he'd leave. I know you're in there. Your neighbor told me a cute university student lives here. Open the door or I'm breaking it down. He would. I knew he would. With shaking hands, I unlocked the door. It flew open before I could even step back, and there he was, Kang Miho, CEO and most powerful man I knew, standing in my doorway soaking wet from the rain I hadn't even realized had started. His expensive suit was ruined, his hair plastered to his forehead, water dripping onto my floor. He looked wild, desperate, nothing like the composed man who commanded boardrooms. You think you can just leave? His voice cracked. You think I'd let you go? Miho, you're soaking. He stepped inside, closing the door behind him, backing me against the wall. His hands cupped my face, and I realized he was shaking. You think you can just leave a note and disappear? After everything? There's no everything, I said, tears already streaming down my face. There's just an arrangement. Money for companionship. That's all this ever was. Bullshit. His thumbs wiped at my tears roughly. You're lying. I'm not. You paid for my tuition, my apartment, my clothes, everything. I'm just... Stop. His forehead pressed against mine, his eyes squeezing shut. Stop saying that. You were never just anything to me. My breath hitched. Then why? Why make it an arrangement? Why treat me like... Because I'm an idiot. He pulled back to look at me, and I saw wetness on his face that wasn't just rain. Because I didn't know how else to keep you close. I'm not good with words, Jaiwin. I'm not romantic or sweet or any of the things you deserve. All I know is business, transactions, deals. So I made one with you because I was terrified you'd leave otherwise. Miho. I never wanted an arrangement, he continued, his voice breaking. I wanted you. From the moment I saw you at that campus cafe, struggling with your laptop and 3 different textbooks, too proud to ask for help. I wanted you so badly it terrified me. I stared at him, my world tilting. What? I love you, you idiot. He laughed wetly, pressing kisses to my forehead, my cheeks, my nose. I've loved you for months. Maybe from the beginning. I just didn't know how to tell you without scaring you away. You're telling me now, I whispered, my hands fisting in his wet shirt, by breaking into my apartment like a crazy person. You made me crazy. He kissed me then, soft and desperate and achingly tender. Not the possessive claiming kisses from before, but something infinitely more precious. You drive me absolutely insane, Park Jaiwin. I kissed him back, pouring every unspoken feeling into it. I love you too, I breathed against his lips. I love you so much it scares me. Don't be scared. He picked me up effortlessly, I wrapped my legs around his waist instinctively, and carried me to my small bed. Don't ever be scared of this. Of us. We stripped each other slowly this time, between kisses and whispered confessions. His wet clothes hit the floor with heavy thuds. My cheap pajamas joined them. And then it was just us, skin to skin, heart to heart. I love you, Miho whispered as he kissed down my neck, my chest, mapping my body like he was memorizing it. I love you, I love you, I love you. When we finally came together, it wasn't rough or possessive or punishing. It was slow, intimate, vulnerable, 2 people completely exposed to each other in every way possible. He held my gaze the entire time, his hand intertwined with mine, whispering promises against my lips. You're not my sugar baby, he breathed as we moved together. You're not an arrangement or a transaction. You're everything, Jaiwin. My everything. I came undone crying his name, and he followed moments later, burying his face in my neck, holding me like I was the most precious thing in the world. Afterwards, tangled together in my tiny bed, he played with my fingers. Move in with me. Officially. Not as an arrangement, but as my boyfriend. Boyfriend, I tested the word, smiling. I like the sound of that. Good. He kissed my knuckles. Because I'm never letting you go. You're stuck with me, Park Jaiwin. Promise. Promise. 3 months later. Miho, you can't buy out the entire restaurant just because I mentioned liking their kimchi jjigae. I sighed, but I was smiling. Why not? He pulled me onto his lap at his office, completely shameless even though his secretary could walk in any moment. I like spoiling my boyfriend. Boyfriend. It still made my heart flutter. You're impossible. And you love me anyway. He kissed me softly, and I melted into him like I always did. Unfortunately, I teased. Fortunately, he corrected and kissed me again.